July 4th, 2019. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 185 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Now, longtime listeners of the show will know that for whatever reason, Mike, you're exposed to a lot of public nudity.
Yes.
And listener Stephen wanted to know if you've seen any nudity lately.
No.
You're kind of in a slump, aren't you?
I'm in a slump, yeah. Well, like I was telling you earlier, they had a report on CBS News saying that casino nudity was down in 2019.
Oh, really? So it's a trend.
It's a trend. I think it's trending down.
Okay. All right. Well, and what do you think is the cause for that?
I don't know. I'm not. I personally, I think I'm not paying enough attention.
Okay, so maybe that's it.
It's nudity's there. I'm just not paying enough attention.
Okay, so I'm a little confused then why this report would come back and say that it's down. Did they just ask you?
Yeah, it's probably just me they surveyed.
Yeah, Mike, this is Jason from CBS News. How's nudity in the casinos?
It's down.
All right,
well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to pay more attention.
Okay.
And I'm going to create nudity. If it doesn't come naturally, I'll create it.
Okay. And then maybe you can Skype from prison?
Yeah.
That's how we'll do the show?
That's how we'll do the show, be in prison.
Very good. Well, in the last episode, we had a question about upstate New York casinos. And since you and I have never been to any of the upstate New York casinos,
right,
we asked listeners to, hey, give us some advice on good casinos for people who are living in upstate New York. And we actually got several responses. We got a couple of calls, one from Professor Slots, John over at Professor Slots, one from Joe. We got a tweet from Instant Class on Twitter, and we also got an email from Chris. And I thought what I'd do is just kind of consolidate everybody's comments. Yeah, because there was some overlap. And so let's just go through some of the casinos here if you're curious about upstate New York.
All right, I am.
All right. So first we'll start with Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino in Niagara Falls on the USA side. It's a very large resort that has everything you would find in a Vegas casino, plenty of slots and video poker, 2 $10 craps tables, 5 times odds, no bonus bets, however.
Ooh.
A $5 game in the morning, if you ask, professional dealers, a small poker room, and a great steakhouse.
Okay.
So those are some of the comments, again, for Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino.
You'd think that Niagara Falls, that'd be the primo spot,
good,
right?
Yeah, right. Get a lot of tourists there, and
exactly.
Sure. Next up is Seneca Allegheny Resort and Casino. It's away in the mountains next to the Pennsylvania border, $5 craps game, 5 times odds, no bonus bets, and a lot of regulars there.
It makes sense too, right? Because it's a ways away from things,
right,
so it's going to be locals.
Yep. Next up is Seneca Buffalo Creek Casino in Buffalo, obviously. It's right near Key Bank Center where the Buffalo Sabres hockey team plays. No hotel or poker room, but there's talk of adding both. So we didn't get too much information there. But, if you're going to a Sabres game, just stop in.
That'd be a good thing. Yeah. Go to a hockey game and then go to the casino afterwards. I bet they're crowded.
Next is Fallsview Casino Resort in Niagara Falls, actually on the Canadian side, Ontario. $5 or $10 craps games, depending on when you go. And they do have the all small tall.
All right. Probably a pretty good-sized casino
I would think so, right? Again, Niagara Falls. Next up is Resorts World Catskills. Has table games, including 10 times odds on craps.
Nice.
Next up is Del Lago Resort and Casino in Waterloo, New York. Opened in February 2017. It has 1,959 slots, 84 table games, and 14 poker tables. And finally, Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona, New York. Has a pretty good reputation and a highly regarded poker room. The floor is quite large and has everything you would want. So again, this is not a comprehensive list, but just some information we got from some of our listeners. So if you're in the upstate New York area, it seems like you got a lot of choices.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of choices. Just 2 things missing.
What's that, sir?
Number 1, there was no mention of Keno at any of these casinos.
There wasn't, but when I was looking online, I didn't write it down. I think there was at least one that had Keno.
Okay,
good. So maybe.
So maybe there's some Keno.
And I'm sure there's video Keno, but
you're not counting. You expect real Keno. I want live Keno. That
with
video
balls.
Keno, with balls. That video Keno, that's millennial stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to get guys like,
I just don't know that I've seen that many millennials playing video Keno.
Oh, Mark, you got to look.
Okay, I'll look next time. You look for nudity. I'll look for...
Who would we go to? What millennial do we know that we could go to that would really know about that?
Probably Adam, travel
exactly,
fanboy.
Travel fanboy. He'd know. I'm sure
You think he plays a lot of video Keno? Let's just say he does.
Let's say he does. And let's say he plays it after his wife goes to sleep and he's in bed on his practicing on his
play
phone.
Money. He's got an app.
He's got an app.
All night long. So close.
God, 4 comes up so much.
You said 2 things, so that was one. What's the other thing?
The other thing was nudity. I mean, there was no report of any
nobody
nudity.
said anything about that. Yeah.
That's sad. That's a millennial thing, too. They're not interested in nudity.
Is that true, too?
It's us old guys.
Oh, great.
We're more interested in nudity.
That's right. Well, for those who are still listening, we got kind of a funny story from this last weekend up at Harris. So the joke that I do quite a bit at the table is, especially on the come out roll, Mike has so many bets that he makes, and there are a lot of people who make a lot of prop bets.
Yeah,
right?
At Southern Cal Resort Casino, there are a lot of prop bettors. I'm not the only one.
No, you're not.
It's like most everybody, right?
So it takes quite a long time. So once all the bets are set up, I like to turn to the stick person and say, no, nothing for me.
Yeah.
Right. And Wendy was on stick the other night, and I said, Wendy, nothing for me. And she flipped me off. A double-fisted flip-off.
Yeah, double-fisted.
I couldn't believe it. And here's what really happened.
What really happened
beforehand, Mike said, hey, Wendy, next time Mark says that, flip him off.
Right. And Wendy's super nice, and she's
so
like, I can't do that. I'd get in trouble, blah, blah, blah.
And what happened was, I said, Wendy, nothing for me. And she was actually handing the stick over to somebody else. She was moving to, behind the table. And so she flipped me off, but she didn't want the eye in the sky to see. Yeah. So it was very subtle. It was kind of down by her waist, both
turned around
just a little bit there.
Oh, she's a good sport. Yeah. I love that. I laughed all night. It'd be great if a dealer could just just give you.
But I like doing that. I remember doing it up at Lake Tahoe where nobody knew me, and there was so much. I just turned to the dealer next to me. Yeah, Brad, nothing for me. Yeah, and he laughed thank you. Yeah, right.
That reminds me, another funny thing is we got an email from a listener who said that he was using the term jackwipe.
Yeah.
Right. And the dealers caught on to it. And a dealer who was on another table yelled over to him, hey, jackwipe, we're hitting a lot of hard 8s over here. I love that. I laughed all week about that. That's great.
We're starting a trend.
Yeah.
We're influencers.
Dealers cussing people out and flipping them off. That's how we're influencing them.
Let's start doing that just because, hey, jackwipe, you done with your prop bets?
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Well, this will make you happy. We're going to talk about zombie blackjack.
Oh, there's nothing that would make me happy.
And on our show notes, I will put things that maybe we're not talking about on the current episode, but it will be coming up on a future episode because I just copy these show notes.
Yeah, so you don't forget.
So I don't forget. And zombie blackjack has been on the show notes for some time. Is that true?
Months. Yes. And every week I'd when are we going to talk about zombie blackjack?
Mike really wants to know about zombie blackjack. Okay, so it's a variation of blackjack. Let's talk about it a little bit. The way that it works is if the dealer has a 7, 8, 9, 10 face card or ace up, and the player busts, the player's bet is put aside and can come back to life like a zombie if the dealer ends up busting. Now, the catch, as usual, in a lot of these variations, is that when the dealer busts with exactly 22, all player hands that haven't already busted push. Right.
So anyone who's still got a live hand, it's just a push.
It's just a push.
No matter what they have.
Right.
They can have 20, it's a push.
Right. And if you have busted and you're waiting to see if you'll come back to life, that's a loss. So here's another way to put it. So if the dealer has a 7, 8, 9, 10 face card or ace up and the player busts, including after doubling, splitting, whatever, then the player's bet shall be boxed. That's how it's referenced. It goes into this special box, and maybe it can come back to life. And these boxed bets will win if the dealer busts with 23 or more points.
I gotcha.
Right. So again, if the dealer busts with 22, all hands that haven't busted push, but these boxed ones those lose. Right. Now, keep in mind, this only happens when the dealer has a 7, 8, 9, 10 face card or ace up. It won't apply if the dealer has a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 up. But, as a player, you're probably not busting very often in those cases when the dealer has a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 showing.
Right.
There might be some exceptions.
Well, it's good for the player because if the dealer had a 2 up, they're more likely to get 22, right? They're going to have 12 and 10, 22.
Well, I don't know that that's good. Why is that good for the player?
Well, because they don't automatically push then.
Yeah, they
these
do.
Cases.
Yeah. A 22 is a push.
In any case.
In any case.
Oh, I thought just if a dealer had a 7, 8, 9,
No.
10.
Any 22.
So it's bad for the player.
Yes.
to have a 2.
Yeah. I'm actually glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
yes.
no, I thought it just applied to when they had a 7 or higher.
No, any 22 is a push.
Any 22.
That's how they maintain this.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise
then that's a big
it'd
edge.
probably be a beatable game.
Yeah, right. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm listening. I'm thinking, well, great. If the dealer has a 2 up, I'm probably just going to stay, right?
But again, as a player, you're typically only going to bust when the dealer has a 7, 8, 9, 10 face card or ace up. So there are some exceptions like a 12 against a 2. It can happen. But anyway, the house edge for the game is just over 1% depending on rules like what Blackjack pays. Is it 3-2? Is it 6-5? How many decks, things like that. So it's not a bad house edge. It seems like it'd be kind of fun to play, actually.
It'd be kind of fun.
Right? Because anytime you're going to bust fairly often.
Right.
The problem is if the dealer's showing a 7 or higher, well, they're probably not going to bust, but, they will every once in a while.
Yeah,
so.
of course, every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then you can come back to life. I like that.
Yeah, that's what the zombie blackjack. You come back to life and you automatically win. So, yeah.
Well, that's a good game.
Yeah,
and
I think
like
so,
the name.
too.
See, that's why I wanted to know every zombie blackjack.
So
I'm
there you
thinking,
go.
how's that work?
Zombie blackjack. And, of course, there's a different basic strategy. I'll post a link to the Wizard of Odds site as usual, and you can look at that up and all the other information about it.
I guess the real discouraging thing on the game is that if you do come back to life, the dealer gets an axe and chops your head off.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it's zombie blackjack.
Yeah.
So just because your head's chopped off doesn't mean you can't come back to life. You have to actually get something through your brain.
Oh, it's the brain.
It's the brain. If you just cut a head off, you're still alive.
So the body could still be walking around?
Well, I don't know about the body, but the head can still be active and eat stuff. But it just can't go anywhere. Okay. Right? So you'd almost
So that explains a lot of the people I've seen in Vegas.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. A lot of them just walking around headless.
Yeah.
Bodies, and then the head just still at the table, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. There you go. So any other comments about zombie blackjack?
Now, I really got to study zombies more.
Yeah, you should. Because it's pretty consistent. The zombie, the only way to kill it is a shot to the head to get their
to the head,
or anything, a knife to the brain, something like that.
So if I cut a zombie's head off and then chop their body up into little pieces and then chop their head up, but don't touch the brain, they're still alive?
Well, I don't know. How can you chop the head up without chopping up the brain?
Oh, just very carefully. I've got tons of scalpels in my office. I could do it.
Well, let's try this after the show.
Yeah, okay.
We'll see. Because I really don't know the answer to your
question.
David? Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's move on to our voicemail hotline segment. Remember, call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is Little Joe.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Little Joe from Pocomo, calling to see if the two of you had any opinions about the Eldorado Caesars merger that got announced the other day. I've been talking to some dealer friends, and mostly people don't know what to think. They just know that many of the Caesars properties around here are unionized, while the Eldorado ones aren't. Not really sure how that's going to impact either the dealers or the gamblers. Anyway, curious about your thoughts. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Mike, but I've had a lot of people ask me, what we think about it. We're kind of in a wait and see, mode, really.
Right. Well, we've had two things that I think we both agree on that'll happen. That they'll probably sell some properties.
Yes, right. There's definitely talk about the Rio and maybe Planet Hollywood in Vegas.
Right.
In Atlantic City, maybe Tropicana.
Right.
Or who knows, maybe one of the Caesars properties now, yeah.
And then the other thing I think that's most impactful, as far as the employees go, is going to be the fact that some of the higher ups are going to be gone.
Probably,
because whenever there's a merger like that, the base employees, the people working in the casino are fine.
Yeah.
It's the higher up people. They're going to change management, and they're just because every owner wants to put their own people in.
Mm-hmm. That could be for people who are high up in Caesars right now, because Eldorado is really the ones taking it over.
Right.
Yeah.
That's scary for them because some of the Eldorado people are going to take their jobs, obviously.
As far as other labor goes, though, and unions and everything,
it's probably not going to change too much.
I'm not even going to offer an opinion because I have no idea. I don't know enough about that kind of thing.
Typically, it wouldn't change too much, although if they restructure and they sell properties and stuff, then people lose jobs.
You and I have said that really the only thing we're concerned about at this point is will they devalue reward credits through Caesar's rewards.
Or eliminate them completely.
Right, just, and we're thinking that if that does happen, it probably wouldn't be till towards the end of the year or maybe the beginning of next year.
Right.
So
from what we heard, that maybe sometime next year, maybe even middle of next year.
Well, let me read to you something that actually went out to all Caesars Entertainment employees. All right. This came out the day that the acquisition was announced. Today is the first day in the approval process, and the transaction is expected to close in the first half of 2020. Until the transaction closes, Caesars and Eldorado will continue to operate as separate companies, and it will be business as usual in our day-to-day activities. And again, that went out to employees. So, I'm thinking we don't need to worry. Well, we may not need to worry at all, but if we need to start thinking about maybe spending all our reward credits or something like that, it wouldn't be till the end of this year or maybe even the beginning of next year. That's our guess. But otherwise,
and I think that's the only thing that as a player and a patron of Caesar's properties that we need to worry about.
Yeah, and if you're worried about maybe getting fewer comps or things like that, well, if that's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's not much you can do about it.
Right. There's nothing you can do about it.
So,
not much. There's absolutely nothing you can do about that.
So we'll see, and maybe next year everyone's loyalties change. We'll just see.
Maybe everyone's going to M Life cards.
Yeah, it could be. I can't imagine, but here we go. Yeah. All right. Next up is Todd.
Hey guys, my name is Todd. I'm calling from Madison, Wisconsin. I'm a first-time listener. My manager actually recommended your podcast because he told me about the show you guys did on bubble craps. And I'm a frequent Vegas goer. I go minimum at least 4 to 5 times a year to strictly play their bubble craps. I've won thousands of dollars consistently every time I go. And I normally play on the Strip at multiple casinos. And I noticed you guys said something on your show that they will cash you out at $1,200 so you don't have to pay taxes. That has never happened to me for multiple years. And I was just kind of wondering which casino that happened and kind of why. Because I've cashed out tickets in the $2, $3, $4 grand range multiple times, won on rolls, winning more than $1,200, $1,500. Because I prefer to play the bubble craps because you win more, you get your change that is owed, and to me, I think it's a little stress-free. But yeah, plan on listening to your show a lot more, and I would truly recommend playing the bubble craps. The older machines are always better because they're not rigged. I've known a lot of people that I've taught craps on those machines, and they've won thousands of dollars consistently. So yeah, you guys got a great show. I'll plan on tuning in again. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, as far as this $1,200 amount goes, now again, when it comes to slot machines, video poker, any payout on a single pull on the machine or a single hand of video poker that's $1,200 or more, they have to fill out a W-2G for you. Now, with these bubble craps machines, I don't know, the ones here at Harrah's Southern California, I know will start spitting out tickets when you get close to that $1,200 amount.
We've seen that, yeah.
I'm not going to claim to know what the law is, but I would guess if a single roll of the dice, not like one shooter, but a single roll of the dice ended up in you winning $1,200 or more, I don't know, multiple bets, would it have to be one bet? I don't know. It might be subject to a W-2G. Maybe these machines can be set up differently. All I can say is that at least here, they do start spitting out tickets early. So I can't say, why that might be in one place and not
most
others.
Of the limits are so low. How would you win $1,200 on a bet?
That is true too. The limits are low. So again, that's something. Now, Todd, glad you found the show. I'm so glad you're a new listener. I hope this doesn't turn you off to the show. But here are a couple things. Number one, none of these machines are rigged, old or new. They're not rigged machines. The casino doesn't need for them to be rigged.
They already have an advantage.
And nobody is going to win thousands of dollars consistently on these machines. Todd, I'm not saying that you have not won a lot of money. In fact, Mike, I was showing you how I'm doing this year. I'm up for craps this year.
Yeah.
With as much as we play real craps, I'm ahead.
Yeah, you're ahead and substantially ahead.
I know.
And I'm not that far down.
So,
because I've had some big wins lately.
You can win, but even with these machines, they're still negative EV games. So,
right.
But I'm glad that you're doing well. I'm glad that people who you've shown the machine to have done well, and I hope you good luck in the future.
The bottom line, the math can't lie. Even on the machine, those dice are just going to roll, and statistically,
and they are random rolls. Are they completely random? Well, they're random enough that you're going to get that bell curve, on what comes out. But some of the other things you said about bubble craps, it's nice. It rounds to the penny, so you're going to get paid off correctly and, things like that. And so.
Well, and a lot of people find it stress-free. Now, see, that depends on your personality. For me, it's more stressful.
It'd be the countdown beeping at you.
I mean,
2 seconds.
Because I make too many bets. But like our friend Rehan, she loves to play it because she only bets like 2 numbers. Mm-hmm. And she just bets the same 2 numbers.
And she just bet like $3 on each one.
And she likes the fact that she can bet $2-3 on each one. And she told me last night that she had a session where she put $40 of free play in and cashed out for $300.
Yeah, see, that's great.
And she just makes little tiny bets, but like 5s were coming up or whatever. And for her, she loves that.
These machines can be set up in so many different ways. Mike, remember we were at Bellagio, and the bubble craps there actually said you could not use free play on it, and you would not earn any M-Life points by playing it at all.
At all. At all. So, it was just like,
All right, next call is from Jacob. The audio is a little rough, so just a warning up front.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Jacob from New York, giving you a bit of a trip report from Las Vegas. We actually met Dr. Mike at Harrah's about a year ago. I'm one of the guys whose buddy worked at NYU. So we talked to Dr. Mike for a while, and that was awesome. We went on our annual trip to Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and it was the best trip that we have ever had. It was a 3-day trip. The first day and a half, we kind of lost everywhere we went. It turned out to be initially one of those trips where at least, we were hoping to just have some fun and conserve our money for that big Saturday night. Things turned around quickly, and we ended up cleaning up and each of us profiting over $1,000, which is a lot for guys our age. But I thought I'd give you a little bit of a report about the dealers that we encountered at a couple different casinos. I know you've been talking about that lately. So just to start with the positive ones, we had great experiences at Harrah's and the Venetian. So I want to give a shout out to Kevin at the Venetian, who was just the best dealer that we have ever had. And it helps that we killed it at his table. And then we also went to the Palms off the Strip and had an amazing time there too. So the craps crew was really great. It's not a place that we typically visit, but we just loved it. On to some of the negative dealers. The Mirage was awful. It looked painful for those dealers to even be there. So, we did play there because we had dinner there and just wanted to, see some rolls, but they were just the worst. And, it didn't get much better at Treasure Island. We actually had a pit boss there who every time the shooter rolled, she would say to the stick man, get him in, get him out, get him in, get him out. And of course she was talking about the dice, but it made us feel like she was talking about the players. So we left there pretty quickly. And, the rest of the trip was just amazing, average elsewhere, but we had a great time. So I wanted to give you that bit of a report, and of course want to let you know that we love the show and keep it up. All right, thanks.
Definitely good cruise at Harrah's. We concur.
Yes.
That's always good.
Definitely bad cruise at
the Mirage.
Yeah,
definitely concur with that.
We've had some really bad cruise there.
Venetian and Palms, we just haven't played there recently to say one way or the other.
I've only played at Palms once my whole...
You might, I think, Mike, you're right. I think the only time I've been to Palms was with you that one time, and that was some time ago.
Yeah,
I remember it was so long ago, it was like, wow, they have TVs behind the craps table. This is fantastic.
That was the first time we had seen TVs,
ever seen it,
and we were like excited.
Now with TI, we've had great experiences at TI. We had a call recently with good experience. Just in this case, Jacob, just not good. So, that's certainly not unusual to just have a bad crew and a good crew at the same property, maybe just different times of day, different shifts. So, all right, let's hear from Trey.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Trey from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I've been on your podcast listening probably about the last 2 months, trying to catch up, pick and choose what I see is coming up on topics. Haven't heard many people from Chattanooga. Of course, we don't have any gambling here, but we do make it over to North Carolina. We have 2 Harrah's properties, Cherokee Valley River and Harrah's Cherokee. I guess my question this time is, I was listening to your strange comps topic right now, and I guess you've touched on it prior, but how to ask for comps that go beyond just maybe a free dinner or something like that. I'll be traveling out to Vegas August 1st. Can actually be my first time on the West Coast. I've been over here, East Coast, Carolinas, Indiana, Biloxi, Tunica. I'd like to consider myself somewhat of a high roller. But my question is, how would I go about asking for the comp on my flight to get out to Vegas? I've got a local casino host here. It's not through Harris, but actually an independent company here called Casino Players International, federally licensed gaming host. And they've always indicated that I can ask for these comps, which I find are pretty high. Any advice on how to ask for something like that? And then also, the wife always travels with me, and she's not much of a gambler. She's always in the spa. And then once again, I've always told me, I can ask for the spas to get comps. So who is it that I ask when I'm there, and how do I go about asking them? Anyways, guys, keep up the good work. Love the podcast. Hopefully I'll get through all of them soon. But talk to you guys soon, and hope I make the air. Thanks.
Yeah, if you're a big enough player, and Trey, it sounds like you are, a lot of casinos will compensate you for airfare. Now, if it's a place you haven't been before, they might not do it until the end of your trip once they've seen,
want to see what you play.
Your play.
And I guarantee that's what they'll tell you. But they'll say, go ahead and play. Come here when you're ready to leave, and we'll see what we can do for you.
But I would say call ahead of time. Call the property where you're going to be going and just ask to speak to a casino host. Tell them your situation. If maybe you're rated at other casinos, tell them the level. Right. Tell them what you typically play, how long you play, the amounts like that, and ask them about it. What about airfare? And again, like you said, Mike, they'll probably come back with, yes, we'll see what your play is like at the end of the trip, and bring your receipt for your airfare. And
I've had them where they give you if you tell them what you play, and they say, well, if you do that, if you're playing for that long a time and you're playing that amount of money and you're buying is this and blah blah blah. Yeah, you'll probably get a comp, but we can't do anything until the end.
That could,
because
that's
they
not
don't,
uncommon, right?
You get sick or you do something else and you don't spend a lot of time there. Then they're not going to do as much for you. But they will comp all that.
Yeah, and certainly a spa. If your wife goes to the spa, I don't think they'd have any trouble.
That wouldn't be any problem. Yeah. And when you get there, all you have to do is go to the VIP check-in and say you want to talk to a host.
Yeah.
And they'll be more
But I would
happy.
recommend, again, calling ahead of time, and then when you check out, make sure you're dealing with a host too, not just somebody, at the checkout desk there.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah. And, and another thing too, you got to be careful if you're leaving at weird times. Because I've had that where I've left real early.
And there's no host available?
There's no host on, or real late, and there's one host and they're doing other stuff.
That's a good point. So if you are going to be leaving at a weird time, make sure you get that worked out the night before
beforehand. Yeah, exactly. Because if you wait till the last minute, because I've had it where they say, we just don't have a host from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah, and then you don't want to have to be calling from home, a week later trying to work.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good. All right, we're going to hear from Trey a little bit later too. Next up is Riley.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Riley from Tulsa. First, I want to say I love you guys' show. I've been a long-time listener and a first-time caller like many people. I'm only 20 years old, so I don't have many options in Tulsa for playing craps. I have to drive an hour and a half to play craps at Downstream. But I have a recent trip report at Osage Casino playing Blackjack that I want you guys to hear about. So, I was playing free bet blackjack, so basically the house pays for you to double down and split, and the catch is that a 22 is a push. So this is the most interesting thing that's ever happened to me. So I have $25 down on my bet, and I get dealt 2 9s against the dealer's up card is 5. First 9, I get a 10, get a 19, stay on that. The second 9, I'm dealt another 9. I split those two. The first 9 of that set, get a 2 into an 11, which I double for free into a 21. The second 9 of that set, I get dealt a fourth 9. That first 9 of the next set, I get an 11 and double into an 18. And then the second 9 in that set, I get a 10 and get a 19. So I stand to win quite a bit of money. And the dealer's up card is a 5. So I'm pretty confident here. I'm already up $100 and was going to see what was going to happen and then leave, booking a nice win. So the dealer starts flipping over their cards, and the dealer on top of the 5 gets a 10 for a 15, and then a 7 gets a 22. On top of that, the 22 was suited, which pays 80 to 1. Some people had between $10 and $20 on the side bet for the push 22, so they got paid a lot of money for that suited 22, and I ended up pushing all of those bets, ended up just going home a small winner. But I wanted to share that story with you guys. Pretty craziest thing that's ever happened to me. Just wanted you guys to hear about that. I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, love the show, and hope to give you some more exciting trip reports very soon. Keep up the good work, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, a bad beat. So there you go. You know, that's the 22 that they have in these games. At least you didn't lose anything.
Right.
So on that, you just
it could have been worse if he hit to 21.
If I were following it correctly, he had a $25 bet to start with, and with all those splits and double downs again, which the casino pays for because this is free bet blackjack. I think that totaled $125. So those were all free. So if the dealer had busted with say 23, he would have won $150 just on a $25 bet. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. What's your biggest crazy split story? It involves eights, I'm sure.
Probably, yeah. Anytime you split eights and then you end up resplitting.
Yeah, I've had 5 eights. I've split.
Is that how many?
5.
The thing is, you're supposed to split eights, but
it's a defensive move.
It's a defensive move. Good. Right. Yes, that's the best way to play it because a pair of eights is still bad. Right. You split so that you will lose less money in the long run.
Yeah, hoping that you get an 18 or 19 and the dealer gets a 17.
It's still a losing hand. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's still, but I've had it where I've split 5 times. And
did you lose all of them?
I lost them all.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. All right. Next call.
Hi guys, this is Steve from Virginia. I just wanted to touch base with you. I just got back home to Virginia from Las Vegas for the first time. Went out for the World Series of Poker and had a complete blast. I stayed at Harrah's, so I had a little bit of chance to play craps there. It was okay. Wasn't great. Didn't win anything, but I had a blast, and that was pretty much all that mattered to me. I spent a lot more time at the Rio playing poker than I did anything else. I ran well. I min-cashed in one tournament, won several satellites to get into larger tournaments, and did well. Felt like I could hang with everybody out there at the time. Now that I'm back home, I'm going to have a chance to sit down, regroup, and see exactly how well I did do. But as of this moment, I'm doing pretty good. At least I feel I have. Anyway, just wanted to touch base with you guys and let you know I told you I was heading out. I'll call you next week.
Good. Sounds like it worked out well. Hopefully, when you go through all the accounting, you'll find out that you were a winner. And
it sounds like you had a good experience.
Yes,
that's what's important. Yeah, because that'll get him there next year.
I know it's great, but when you feel confident at a poker table, it's great.
Yes,
it could be false in that you're just running hot with the cards or just running good. But
but feeling good is important in your play.
Definitely when it comes to poker. Yep.
Yeah, when it comes to poker, because if you're not. It's a miserable experience, and you probably won't win.
No, and you'll go on tilt.
Yeah, right. So, yeah.
All right, next up is Ryan.
Hey, guys. Ryan from Las Vegas. Haven't called in a while. Just wanted to call in and give you a story on what happened the other day. I was playing at a Red Rock Casino. I was playing craps there the other day, and it was just me and my buddy. We're playing, and I'm standing right next to the stick, and then my buddy's standing about where the hook is, and we're the only two on the table. And this older lady walks right up and she tells the pit boss, "Can you tell these jerks to scoot over so I can play?" And the pit boss kind of looks at her. He's like, "Ma'am, the whole table's open." And she's like, "Oh my God, but that's my lucky spot, whatever." So she stands on right in the middle between us. We make room for her. So she puts her money down, and then it was my come out roll. And my first roll, I rolled a 2. So we lost our pass line bets. I get the dice again, and I roll a 2 again. We lost our pass line bets, and she goes, "God, don't let anybody shoot at a table," and starts saying things like that, just like, "Don't let anybody shoot," or "These young guys have no idea what they're doing," kind of giving us some attitude. So she pulls her money off and stays in that spot, and I continue to roll, and I think I made 1 point. It wasn't a good roll at all, but it wasn't terrible. So they finally passed the dice to her, and she said, "Oh, time to give the dice to someone who knows what they're doing." And we're just kind of looking at her like, what is she talking about? So I had about $500 in my rack, and I took all 500 and I laid it on the dome pass.
just because she was being so rude to me. And she looks at me and she goes, "You better take that money off there." And I was like, no, I can bet wherever I want. And she looks at the dealer and says, "He needs to take that money off." And he says, "Ma'am, he can bet wherever he wants." She goes, "Fine, it's your funeral." And come out rolls an 8. And then first roll right after that, she sevens out. So I get paid. And she goes, "You should pay me half of that because I just made you all that money." And I said, "No way." I just thought it was pretty annoying. She thinks that the younger you are, maybe you don't know how to roll dice. I mean, there's no skill involved in it. I don't know. I know you guys deal with some stuff like this, maybe not to that extent, but anyways, guys, take it easy.
And some people just want to see the world burn.
Yeah.
Isn't that what Alfred said about the Joker,
Right.
I think?
Yeah,
Dark
that's what
Knight?
Alfred said.
They're just-
You know what it is, though? What Ryan doesn't understand is that woman, she needs that spot. That's her lucky spot.
between him and his friend.
Yeah, that's her lucky spot.
Yeah.
And you know what? She's never rolled 2 craps on the come out in a row.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's never.
so she's sevened out, but
yeah.
she's never rolled 2
She's
craps.
never rolled. No. You know what she is? She's a jackwipe.
Oh, a jackwipe.
She's a jackwipe.
Yeah.
And you should have just looked at her, Ryan, and said, "Excuse me, Miss Jackwipe, but I'm going to roll the way I want to roll. You're a jackwipe." How could she be offended? He called her a jackwipe. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's true.
I was just like, oh, that's an term of endearment.
that
That's
is-
what I call my grandmother.
That's why I'm trying to break it up. Jack and wipe. Huh.
What an annoying person. I give him credit because I could not have taken that.
Why are people like that?
Yeah,
why am I even asking that question?
Yeah,
I
well,
know
you know,
it.
but you have a theory.
I do
about
have a
this.
theory about that. Anybody, I'm going to be at the summit. Ask me what my theory is.
Yeah, Mark's got a theory.
I seem really cheerful. Am I? Well, ask me. All right. Next, we got an international report from Nick.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nick from Virginia. I was calling with a trip report from the Barceló, Bávaro beach in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. I was down there for about a week, and they have a small casino on site. They have blackjack, roulette, and some poker variant table games, as well as slot machines. I play a fair amount of blackjack while I was down there, and they have really good rules. 3-2 payout on blackjacks. You can split any time, and you can double down after a split. The one thing I didn't like that they have there is that when the dealer has an ace up, they don't show you whether or not they got a blackjack. So for me, what happens is one night, I'm a low roller, so I play $5 chips, and I built my stack up to about $30, and I got a pair of aces against the dealer ace. I decided to go ahead and split, so I had to put another $30 out there, and then after I put my split wager out there, she decided to flip it over and then show me that there was a blackjack. So I lost more money than I would have, but I made more money on the better rules. Overall, it was a really good week. The dealers are very knowledgeable and quick. And I wound up about $150 for the week, and I played about an hour or so of blackjack every night. Anyway, love the show, and keep doing what you're doing. Goodbye.
Good. Thanks, Nick. So it sounds like it's similar to the European blackjack rules that we were talking about on the last episode,
right.
Except the dealers actually do get a down card. They just don't check it.
They just don't check it.
Right, till all the actions happen.
We've seen that before, though.
What?
Haven't we seen where they don't check?
Well, yeah, but we've never seen it where then they take all the bets.
Right.
Were you
That's
listening?
true.
Look, folks, I'm sitting across from Dr. Mike, okay? And he's got all our sports bets out and his red pen and he's got his phone out, okay? No, the problem was, they don't check, but they wait for everybody's action. And then if you lose, because they have blackjack, you lose your split money, your double down money.
I
like in
understand.
European.
I got that.
Okay.
I got that.
Right.
But we've seen where they deal and don't check.
And they don't check.
Right.
I haven't seen that in a long time because they've got those readers now.
Because they have the readers. But
in the olden
prior
days.
to that, in the olden days, we saw that a lot.
Yes.
But it wasn't where they took your, they would hand you your split back and your double down.
Yes, right.
You would get that back.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But that's the way it used to be back when we were in our 20s.
At some places.
At some,
yes.
at some places, not all, but some.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Alex.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Alex from Atlanta, Georgia. Just wanted to give a trip report. I was in Tampa this past weekend. I went to Seminole Hard Rock, and I played some blackjack. I had intentions on playing craps, but they didn't have craps. I want to know if I'm addicted to craps. Reason I ask is, before I would play blackjack, and I would say I'd win 7 out of 10 times that I'd play. And then I got into craps, and now when I go to a casino, I kind of intend on playing both, but I spend pretty much all my time playing craps. And I would say that I lose a lot more than I win whenever I play craps. However, I still have the itch to play craps even though I lose more. I don't know, maybe it's just because the game is a lot more fun than Blackjack. Blackjack is kind of automatic once you know basic strategy. But it's just weird that, Blackjack I win, I bring home money more times than I lose, but I don't know, I was just itching to play craps. All I had was double craps, and I don't like to play the machine games at all. So I'm like, am I addicted to craps now? I don't know. What is y'all's take on it? Hope y'all are doing good, and I love your show. Bye.
Alex, you're the most normal person in the world.
He's addicted to craps, Mike.
He is not.
He is.
He is not.
He's going into a casino where he's probably going to win if he plays blackjack, but instead he goes to craps where he's probably going to lose.
Because he likes to have fun and he's enjoying his life.
That's the definition of an addict, right?
He's a normal person. There is nothing wrong with this man. He's 100% correct. Why go be tormented by blackjack when he can have fun playing craps? Now, he's addicted if he goes and plays craps and loses like his rent money.
Okay, well,
that loses all of his money.
I wouldn't say that's addicted. I say he's got a gambling problem.
Okay, well, yeah, semantics.
Because I think we're addicted to craps, all right? I'm not saying we're not addicted. I'm just saying Alex and we are addicted to craps.
I think Alex just isn't a jackwipe. Okay. So that's what...
on that we can agree.
Yeah.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Joe from Dallas. Wanted to give you all a quick trip report from my bachelor party in Vegas this past weekend. Overall, came out a pretty big loser, which was disappointing. Sports betting and blackjack really hammered me, especially the Honduras-Curacao game. 35 shots to 5. Somehow did not score a goal for the team in 35 shots. But had a fun little time at the Cromwell, was playing some Pai Gow, $15 a hand, and every time I would get about 8 single chips, the white ones, I would call over the pit boss. I'm like, hey, can I put a bet down for the dealers on the craps table for a hard 6? And at first he was a little bit confused, but was able to take it over there each time. And then eventually, I didn't even need the pit boss anymore, and I was literally throwing chips over to the craps table for dealer hard 6s. And every once in a while, I would get up from my seat, run over, put down 4 chips for a 2-way hard 6 and 8. And sure enough, we hit one. That was a lot of fun getting to play with the dealers as I was playing a different game. And they definitely appreciated it the next night when I was playing craps with them. And they were like, hey, remember you? We appreciate the bets. And that was definitely one of the coolest experiences that I have all on my trip. And I was appreciative of the pit boss and the staff there for letting me probably do something that may not be allowed other places, throwing chips across the casino. But overall, great trip. Hopefully the gambling will go a little bit better next time. Appreciate the show. Look forward to the next one. Thanks, guys.
That's a Dr. Mike move if I've ever heard one.
Yes.
Congratulations, Joe.
I'll see another sane part. We're in a roll here.
I saw you smile. I knew you'd love this story because now you're going to want to do that. You're going to do that just at all. There are 4 craps tables at Harris. You're going to be throwing them from one table to another.
Yeah, I threw chips in the trash.
And we know that.
to get a laugh.
To get a laugh. Anything for a laugh.
Anything for a laugh.
But I bet
I'm going to have to bet on the other tables.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Joe. Good job.
I'm going to get exercise. See, I'm going to run among the 4 tables making bets
and just throw them down real quick. And
I'm going to be under 220 before no time.
Under 220.
Yeah.
Don't be silly. All right, let's hear from Trey again.
Hey guys, Trey G from Chattanooga, Tennessee. As I'm on my way home, I was listening to one of the prior podcasts, and it was talking about a casino that was new with new dealers, and they were overpaying, and it just kind of piqued my interest, and I had to come tell this story. I was at Harris Cherokee about 4 years ago. I was there for about 5 nights, and I had become pretty good friends with one of the dealers. She was on roulette, and we were winding down the night, and it was not going too well. But I think I was down to about my last $30. So I put it on the second dozen. And apparently I'd put it close enough to the line, and the 0 or double 0 came up on the wheel. She grabbed my stack of chips and immediately slid it over to the line between the second and third dozen, which, of course, you know is the courtesy line, and looked at me and said, that's where you meant to put that bet, right? I mean, not knowing exactly what to do in that moment, and after all the drinks I'd probably had, I said, yeah, absolutely. So I think my last $30 got turned into like $510 or something like that. I don't know if that was certainly ill-advised, but at that moment, I guess I was in a bit of shock and just kind of went with it. And regardless, I think the next time I was at the casino for 2 or 3 nights, I did not see her, which may very well be explained by that move. But I just wanted to tell you guys that. Look forward to my trip in Vegas in August, and look forward to the next podcast. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, sounds like she did you a favor.
Yes.
I guess it's the kind of thing where, you need to be careful that the casino doesn't think that you two are in cahoots and like there's cheating going on. Let's kind of explain what happened there for people who may not be familiar with the roulette layout. So on the outside, there are 3 different bets that you can make. First 12, second 12, third 12. It's just, the numbers are split up into 1 through 12. Right? Yeah. And if you put your chips right on the line between the second 12 and the third 12, that's called the courtesy line. That's actually a bet on 0 and 00.
Yeah.
Right. It's just easier. If you say you're on that end of the table, it's just too far to go up to 0 and 00.
Right.
You can put it right there. So what Trey was saying was when he made his bet on the second 12, it was really close to that line.
Yeah.
And so
it could have looked like
it could have, and so the dealer kind of moved it over there for him. So
which is probably what he did intend to do, and she probably
he said in the call that that's not what he intended to do. Okay,
I know,
right,
but
so.
I mean, it seems like that what he would be intending to do, right?
No, why has he been doing that
from
all
her
night?
perspective? From her perspective,
I don't think no.
You don't think so? You think she just?
I think she's cheating for him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's why he needs to be careful. I don't think this is a dealer mistake. I think she did this intentionally because they had a good rapport going and maybe they had tipped or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Okay.
that's
Well,
great,
that-
Trey. Just,
that
be
could
careful.
But I was thinking, my take was like, she's thinking, he doesn't know and he meant to put it here.
Maybe if
and it
he'd
was
been
too
making
close
that bet all night long or at least a few times, and maybe he had been, I don't know.
Yeah, well, he didn't say that.
No,
Okay. Well, either way, it worked out.
It did work out. Trey, you're not in jail. Maybe she is.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe
You said
that's
you
why
didn't see
she
her,
isn't
but
there.
Anyway, worked out.
I don't think she is.
Probably not.
I'm
no,
gonna go to bed tonight thinking that she's fine.
No, I think she just got another
fine.
job.
Yeah.
Or maybe went to a different shift.
Yeah, or she's just on vacation.
Yeah, she's fine.
And she's fine.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hey, Mike and Mark. This is Chris calling from Philly. Wanted to call in to get your advice on something. So I work really close to the Sugar House Casino in Philly. We got 4 casinos out here right around the city. The Parks Casino, Sugar House Casino, Valley Forge Casino, and the Harrah's Chester Casino. Of those 4, I go to Sugar House the most because it's basically walking distance from my work, so I can go there pretty frequently. I usually buy in around $200 and play for anywhere from half an hour to an hour at a time, sometimes up to 3 times a week. So I've been trying to figure out what to do with my play because it's really impossible to get free slot play from your table play at Sugar House, and there's not really a lot of benefits that I can get from it, and I can't seem to crack into another level, another tier of player card. Now, the play that I'm talking about here, I know isn't that much, but I know that you're really familiar with total reward system. So I wanted to check and see if that kind of play, $200 buy-in, hour of play a week, would generate any kind of real solid benefits if I decided to go out to Harrah's Chester instead of Sugar House. So that's the real thing that I'm looking for here. And while I'm on the call, just figured I would give you a summary of the Philadelphia casinos and how they break down in case anybody ever decides to visit Philly. So for the Philly casinos, we've got 4. We've got the Parks Casino, Sugar House, Valley Forge, and Harrah's Chester. The best, in my opinion, for low rollers is probably Valley Forge. They always have $10 minimums, but they do not have any bonus bets. Next after that for low rollers would be Harrah's. Although I don't go out there very frequently, I hear that they do have some $10 minimum tables on the weekends. Next up, Sugar House. They are pretty expensive for craps. I go there on Monday mornings, and they have $15 tables on Monday mornings, if that tells you anything. After that is Parks. They are the biggest casino, but unfortunately, they have really high table minimums
On the weekends, it's basically impossible to find a table under $25. So, yeah, it's tough for somebody who doesn't have a big bankroll. So, thank you, and I enjoy the show. Have a good one.
Yeah, Chris, if you're playing $200 and only playing for an hour or maybe even a half hour, I just don't think your ADT is going to get you many comps, even at Harrah's. Especially, too, if you're not able to go out to Harrah's as often as you are able to go to Sugar House, which is right by your work. So,
right.
And if you're not able to go out there as much, I don't think your tier level is going to increase either. So the only reason I'd say go to Harrah's is because it's a Caesar's Rewards and you can use it if you go to Vegas or at Atlantic City. But based on what you're saying, your level of play, I think maybe just stick with Sugar House. But you're probably not going to get much in the way of comps, no matter what you do.
Right.
Now, if you took one day and you played for 8 hours,
right,
and a lot more
that's
money,
a difference.
that might help your ADT, and maybe you'll get something. But these quick trips, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's the quick trips that will hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, when he said this is Chris from Philly, it sounded to me like he said Chile, and I was thinking, no, it's Chile. And then Chile. And then I realized he said Philly, and I'm laughing to myself because I was going to say, Chris, it's filet.
Filet. Great.
You're never going to forget that.
It was fantastic. My pronunciation was brilliant.
Brilliant.
All right, next up.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Josh from Seattle. I'm a first-time caller, and I've been listening to you for about 3 months or so now, and I've listened to the recent episodes, and now I'm working my way up from number one. I wanted to give you a quick couple stories from a recent trip to Vegas. I go to Vegas about 5-6 times a year and almost exclusively play craps. And I love your crap stories, and I thought I'd share a couple of mine from my last trip. And the first one was I was at Planet Hollywood. I was throwing the dice, and the dice hit the back wall, popped up in the air, hit the player chip racks, and then slid down the little ramp that's by the house chips and fell into the lammer hole. And the dealer said that in 30 years of dealing, they'd never seen a die like a hole-in-one go in the lammer chip hole. And I wondered if you'd ever seen anything or heard anything like that. The second story was at Bellagio. In the middle of a roll, the stick man pushed the dice out, and the player next to him threw the dice and sevened out. The thing was, nobody caught it. And there was a guy playing $500,000 chips, so there was a fair bit of money on the table, and the dealers mucked the chips. And then the player next to me said, wait a minute, I think wrong player threw the dice. And so they stopped and called the pit boss over and kind of explained what happened. And I don't know if they called security or not, but they verified that the wrong person had thrown the dice in the middle of the roll and then backed everything up and put our bets back up. And the guy made 1 point, or one number rather, before 7ing out, so got an extra, $50, I think it was, on a 4 or a 10. So I'd seen the wrong player throw the dice at the, a come out roll before, but never just mid roll, and the shooter didn't even notice. Like, nobody caught it. Anyway, thanks for listening, and you have a great podcast, and I hope to call back with some more trip reports in the future. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. I don't think we've ever seen the wrong shooter actually pick up the dice.
You don't think so, huh?
I think maybe.
Josh needs to continue listening to the podcast.
Yeah, a little while back I did it. It was so funny because they pushed the dice in front of you.
Right.
And I kind of angrily picked them up. And the shooter, and threw them. And this was back when they, flipped over the cards after you rolled the dice, so it was no big deal. They just said no roll, and we didn't know what it would have been. But yeah, we've seen that before. And one that I remember sticking out years ago, and this is really back in our early days, we were at Four Queens. And as the dice are in the air, the shooter's done it, you're the one who says, wait, that's the wrong shooter.
Right.
And it was a 7 out. And I remember the dealer in front of us, who had seemed like this really great guy, had been talking to us, really quickly started picking up all the chips. It's like, nope, the dice, whatever is on the dice. Yeah. And we all complained enough that the pit boss came over and said, okay, no roll.
Right.
Which was a great decision on their part. It was the right thing to do.
Right.
And the roll went on longer, too. It wasn't like in this case, Josh said that there was a quick just 7 out after there. But no, ours roll went for a lot longer. So, yeah, we've seen it before. It happens relatively frequently.
It happens more than you think, especially when there's alcohol alcohol involved.
Right, yes, exactly.
The die in the lammer hole, that's usually where a lot of casinos place it when it goes off the table.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the person
Yes,
doesn't want the same die. They get new die. The dealer will look at it, check it out, or the boxman, whoever, and they put it in that lammer hole until it's a new come out.
Yeah, right.
Just so, because if they set it on the rail, it might fall or something.
Yeah.
So I've seen them in the lammer hole. I've never seen anyone throw it in the lammer hole.
Yeah, we've never seen that. I think the most interesting thing we saw was once one of the dice landed right on the edge of the boat.
Yeah, on the edge of the boat.
Right, where they hold the dice. And I don't know that I could have balanced it there.
No.
Let alone it's flying through the air and then lands there.
Yeah, you'd have to work to get it to stay there. That's the thing.
Yeah. All right, next up is Nathan.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nathan from Indianapolis. Called in one other time, long-time listener, big fan. Just got back from Las Vegas, so figured I'd give a trip report. Was out there for 7 nights, 3 nights at the D downtown and 4 nights at Flamingo. Played in a blackjack tournament at Harrah's for 2 of the days. It was a free thing put on by Total Rewards. Never done that before. Did a little bit of research beforehand for a little strategy. It was a great time. Ended up finishing in the money. Got $750 or $750 casino free play. Winner got $15,000, so didn't quite finish up there. But it was a great time, well organized. Everyone was super friendly and helpful. So would highly recommend anybody doing that again if they get an invite. You know, we did see Seinfeld out at Caesars one night. It was a good show. I don't think I'll be going back to Caesars to gamble. The odds there are ridiculous. Everything's 6-5, the blackjack table. Even the $25 minimum is still 6-5. You have to go to 50 to get 3-2. And the $50 minimum is still a 6-deck shoe. But overall, great trip. And, hopefully make it out in October for the summit to meet everybody. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, hopefully we'll meet you there, Nathan. I don't blame him when it comes to Caesars because their rules really are pretty bad.
They're bad.
Now, you and I don't have a problem because we usually just play craps there, and their craps rules are fine. Right. But yeah, gosh, the table games and their slots and their video poker, it's pretty bad.
Their slots are not great. You know, we've had a hard time finding a decent slot there.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nick Walters from Vermont again. Just wanted to talk briefly about my trip to Mohegan Sun. I did lose $200, so that's in the last 2 trips I'm down $400. But I did get my first free bet from Mohegan Sun, where I was able to bet $20. I did take it to a $15 blackjack table and just bet the 20. I know in previous podcasts you guys discussed the free bet and how maybe taking it to a blackjack table was not the best idea just because you could end up putting more on the table if there came an opportunity to double down or split. This actually did happen to me, only with the double down, but the casino would not let me split because in the fine print, if you read the back, it said it wouldn't work on double down, split, or anything else like that in blackjack or any other game type where you had to put down more money. I was curious as to why a casino might not allow that. And I was just curious if this is common practice at other casinos or if it's just common practice for this particular casino. Love listening to the podcast. Plan on going to casino at some point with some friends. Hopefully I'm able to rebound from this $400 loss and get to that $1,000 that I'm hoping to get to. All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, we've never heard of that. Our experience has been if you're using free play and you need to split, well, if your free play is $10, well, okay, you can split. You just got to take out $10 of your own money.
Right.
So, no, I'd have to look at the fine print. I don't know of any other casinos that do that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah. Well, do you think maybe that was an error on the dealer's part?
Well, again, Nick said he looked at the back and it actually said, you can't do it on certain bets. So, no, that's unusual. I've never heard of that
one thing about free play is it seems like every casino, even among the same ownership, has different rules on their free
When it comes to table games, I agree. Usually if it's slot free play, it's a big deal, right?
Slot is pretty consistent. Yeah. But table play, it's like they're so inconsistent.
It's got to be an even money bet.
Yeah, we've had some. Well, look at Harrah's Southern Cal on the craps table. You can bet in the field where you can get played double on 2 and triple on 12.
You can make place bets.
You can make place bets.
But you can't make any of the prop bets in the middle.
You can't make any prop bet.
But you can make a fire bet with it.
But you can make a fire bet.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just so weird. I mean, who thought of that? Like, is this like somebody flipping a coin? Oh, yeah. Heads, no, this one we don't allow. Oh, tails, yeah, we're going to allow this. I mean, it's weird.
It is strange. Nick had another call, too. I'm not going to play it, but he was talking about that March Madness Survivor pool. Remember, he had mentioned it. We were wondering how it works. And it works like a regular Survivor pool. You know, you pick these teams and you can only pick it once during the whole tournament. In his call, he was talking about what strategy you need to use. Basically, every day in the tournament, you want to pick a team that you're confident will win that day, but that won't go much farther, if any farther, so that you can save, the big teams
for
the end.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I think this team is going to win in the first round, but I think they're going to lose in the second round.
I won't have to use them in the second round because they'll lose.
Right. You have to save all of those big teams, Duke and Kentucky and everybody, you save those to the end.
So how many picks do you make in the first round?
I think it's just one. I think it's just every day. It might be every day or it might be every round. I'm not sure.
You just make a pick.
But that's the point. It works exactly like we thought. But the strategy is different in that you need to, save the big teams for the end. Because if you get to the point in the Final Four and you've used all those teams already, well, you can't go any further.
Right.
So you're not going to win unless everybody else is in the same situation.
I'll tell you what, the problem with that would be the logistics. Because let's say it was just round, not every day, but round. So on Thursday and Friday in the first round, before it starts, they could make their picks Wednesday night and Thursday. But then Friday night, before Saturday morning, everyone would have to make their picks.
I wouldn't want to try to organize it. Yeah, that's the problem. You would need to depend. Everybody would have to make their picks correctly on time.
Right. If it was 4 guys, maybe you could do it. If you've got like 20 guys, I mean, come on. And somebody's going to say, oh, I meant to call and I got busy. And,
let's do it next year. It'll just be you and me.
Okay,
that'll be easy enough.
That'd be easy enough,
right? And this,
I call you.
You're trying to. So you're just getting a busy signal. Wait, what? A busy signal on a cell phone? Mike, I was waiting for your call. You never got through to me. I win.
Yeah, you're out. Give me your $20.
All right, last call.
Hey guys, Eamon from LA here. Just calling in a couple quick trip reports. Last weekend, I happened to be in Lima, Peru for an event. And thankfully, and unbeknownst to me when I booked, there was a casino on the ground floor of my hotel, the Majestic Casino in Lima. So obviously I had to check it out, and I had a great experience. I went in and got the local currency, the soles, and sat down at a table to play some blackjack. It was 3-2. I was doing really well, so I started betting a little bigger, like 30 soles, which is only about $10, but it was big for people at the table. I started to draw a lot of attention from some pit bosses, so I quickly backed that down to, 15 soles. I was there more for the experience, but my hands were going really well. So at one point, a couple of the locals ended up playing on top of my hand, where I won 7 hands in a row. So I had 2 locals playing on my hand. They were each playing about 10 soles. So everybody was cheering for me. It was a really great time, even though my Spanish is pretty poor. Their English wasn't great. But the love of gambling. Went down a couple nights later, decided to play some craps because I didn't actually see the table the first night. And the tables were a minimum 1 sole, so about 30 cents. I was playing basically 25 soles on the pass line. It was going really well, so I decided to start betting some hard ways for the dealers. And they started hitting just one after another. I was playing, only 5 soles on the hard ways, but they just kept hitting. The dealers were so excited, so appreciative of it. All in all, it was a really great time. They had tables in dollars and soles, but I continued to play on the soles tables because I didn't want to go hang with a bunch of Americans. So that was really great. And then this last weekend, I was in Vegas, and I started playing the all tall small for the first time, and someone hit it. It was great. I was on it for $10. Paid $150 to 1 because we were at MGM. So it was a really great payout. Nothing else really exciting happened, but first time hitting that, so that was really fun. Hopefully I'll have a trip report coming up from this weekend as I'm headed to Rivers Schenectady in upstate New York. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Oh, Rivers Schenectady. All right, so there's another one that we didn't mention in upstate New York.
I'd like to play on the soles table versus the dollars.
Yeah, me too.
So
I would
could
too.
say soles.
Well, good. And thanks for another international report.
Yeah, we got one.
Good luck on the all small tall.
Lima, Peru, and Punta Cana.
Yeah.
and he survived. Came home. He was an American who came home.
Came home from the Dominican Republic. Yeah, he was luckier than he thought.
Punta Cana was the resort where several of the people.
I know.
So maybe he didn't drink.
Maybe, didn't go to the mini bar.
Right.
Well, enjoy watching the Women's World Cup final this Sunday. The USA is going to be playing the Netherlands.
We already bet prior to.
That's right. We bet on the USA, beforehand. I think we got 3-1 on it.
Oh, I thought it was 5,000 to 1.
Sorry. No, it was $5,000 that we bet 3-1 on.
It was 5,000 soles.
There you go. That makes more sense. And happy 4th of July to all our American listeners, too. This is coming out on the 4th.
Well, to everybody, because we want to wish the European listeners happy 4th of July, too. It doesn't mean as much to them, but I hope they have a happy day.
All right. Well, I hope so,
because they still have a 4th of July.
Yeah, they do. All right. I'm not sure that the English are still all that thrilled about it. But,
I think they've gotten over it. They just haven't gotten craps in their casinos yet.
Yeah, that's the problem. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, Weber, Karma donation for my bachelor party, June 20th through the 23rd in Vegas. So that's already over. Hopefully that went well.
Yeah. Probably married by now.
Yeah, really. Oh, gosh, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Also from podcast superstar John B., he says, going to try this Karma donation thing, headed to Vegas June 28th through July 1st, and it's been a rough couple of past trips. Ooh, thanks for all you do. So hopefully good. That trip's over too.
I think it's going to work, John.
Yeah, hopefully it did work.
I think it.
Also from Julia, in gratitude for the craps tutorial last month, a Karma donation for my next trip, M Life offered my little low-rolling self a comp at Excalibur. Couldn't turn that down.
Hey,
nice.
I love
there
Excalibur.
You go. Yeah,
that's a great place.
Yeah. Also from Will, thanks for letting me join you for card craps. I'll never forget Mark keeping track of the rolls with his cards and saying good or bad on each roll. I even started keeping track myself when I played at other casinos in California. Now I can tell all of my friends I played craps with David and Dr. David. Will, a.k.a. David. So a couple things there. We were joking. I think I talked about it on the if I didn't on the
you did.
Okay, where we are all going to just
mostly listeners are David.
Yeah, so we'll just say David. Come on, roll, David.
Come on, David.
So we were calling everybody else David.
And we had a good time with Will.
And the cards that he's talking about. So yeah, I made up these little laminated cards that get a lot of attention.
A lot of attention.
For each shooter, it shows the dice combination that will result in a 7. Yeah. Again, the dice translate to cards. So I have I showed the 3.
There's 15 cards, 15
possibilities. So every time there's a new shooter and they shuffle the cards, I have this. So I can look real quickly and just say good if it's not a 7 and bad if it is.
Yeah.
And so people.
So we have to hear good, bad. And good doesn't always mean it's good.
Yeah, good could be a 3.
Could be a 3.
Just means it's not a 7.
Right. And you have to explain that a lot because you'll say good and they'll, well, it was a 3. Nobody won. Yeah, no, but it wasn't a 7.
All right. So listeners, is that crystal clear?
Yeah.
Maybe you have to see it.
You have to come to California and play with Mark.
And finally, a donation from Erickson, Naders, and Robert from Utah. Karma donation for upcoming trip to downtown Vegas in July. Also for Dr. Mike's extensive knowledge of BYU football in an episode a while back. Here's to the Cougars beating the Aztecs at the end of this year. Thanks for all your hard work. Love the podcast. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when it gets close to that game, I know it's coming up at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who's going to win.
Okay.
I'll tell you who's going to win.
All right. And then bet accordingly, everyone.
Yeah, and bet accordingly. Hey, I did good on college football last year.
Did you?
I can't remember. I won the pool. I won.
Oh, that's right.
And
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. I've been studying. College football is going to be my thing. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. I'll let you make all our sports bets on college football this year.
Yeah. Seriously.
Okay, I will. I'll turn it over to you. All right. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program that searches through all the raw American TV data. Just go to youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We love getting your feedback. Take it away, Dr. Mike.
Well, I told you earlier this week that I was going to have an announcement to make.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And here's my announcement.
Okay.
I was working the other day and I was thinking about people And I know you have a theory about people.
Yeah, ask me at the summit.
Yeah, and that's what brought this on. And I was thinking, so many bad people for different reasons, bad for different reasons. And we give them a lot of attention, but we never recognize the good people as much. I mean, in our lives, right?
Sure.
Which is very common. It's a very common thing.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, I'm not going to be that way.
Okay.
So from now on, I vowed to myself that I'm going to recognize good people.
Okay.
So the very next patient was a very nice lady, just a pleasure to be around. And I told her that.
Okay,
I said, I
nice.
want to just tell you, I enjoy you coming in. You're a pleasure to be around. You're very nice, you're an easy, good patient. And I enjoy when I see your name on the schedule. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to start right now on this podcast saying, thank you to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Because, you do a ton of work. And I know we joke about it and everything, but you do a ton of work. And I enjoy the podcast. And I enjoy the sports bets every day because it makes my life happier.
Yeah.
And you do all the work.
Yeah.
And I just check them. I mean, sometimes I check them during the podcast.
Yes, you do.
But I check them, and it's not the money or winning or losing. It just gives me something to occupy my mind.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mark.
Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
So, I mean, there you go. You should be rewarded for your good deeds.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe you can reward me this weekend.
Yeah.
With maybe some hardway bets or
maybe
something
I
like
will,
that. Or
yeah.
buy me a well drink or something. I'd appreciate that.
I enjoy making those hardway bets for you.
Thanks.
We had a good weekend.
Yeah, we did.
And
Ultimately, we had a very good, we're doing okay.
We had a very good week.
Yeah.
So we can't complain about that either.
No.
But yeah, so that's my advice to everybody listening.
Okay.
It just has nothing to do with gambling, but
Yeah.
just tell the people who do nice things and make your life happier, tell them thanks.
Absolutely good advice. Good.
And then, forget about those bad people.
Right. Yeah, put them out of your mind.
Yeah, and if you need help doing that, talk to Mark at the summit.
I don't know that will help, but I'd love to talk to you. Come up to me. All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Mark, that was wonderful. I had no idea you were so talented. The audience is going to love you.